Hello, good morning, and welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. My name is Chandra. I live in Central Washington State. It is August 10th, and I'm going to give this a try. My friends and family have been telling me I should be doing this for years now. I'm a very big YouTube fan. I watch all kinds of homesteading videos, cooking videos, how-to videos. If something breaks, that's my go-to to try to figure out how to fix it. And we live in Central Washington, like I said. My husband and I have been married for 30 years. We were high school sweethearts, met when we were 17. We lived in a home in town, which we still own, and I love that house. That house, it was where my kids grew up, and it was built in 1937. It's got all the old charm of old plaster walls and not enough closet space, and my husband wanted to live out in the country, so we negotiated and he talked me into it. And the selling factor for me was I had outgrown my yard. I couldn't grow anymore in my little, suburban backyard, but you would be surprised at the produce that came out of those gardens. I always had a salsa garden: tomatoes, peppers, onions, that kind of stuff, cilantro, herbs. We moved about 10 minutes out of town, and the house that we bought it's fine, it's functional, it's a manufactured home, and it's on 10 acres. The lawn was really pretty when we moved in. It had a bunch of mature trees, which was, a huge selling point since we live in the kind of the high desert of Washington State. And the selling point for me was it has a beautiful greenhouse. We've lived here for about 3 years. We have made some changes for the good and some for the not so good. We're figuring it out as we go. COVID hit about a year after we moved here. It's been a very strange time since then. Along with my husband and I living in this house, our adult son is staying with us, Mason. He's 32. And my dad and my stepmom moved in with us as well. So our house is a busy, active, tight quarters, but we all get along really well. It's set up so that we function kind of independently. We all have our own space. We don't seem to encroach too badly on each other. And thank heavens my dad and Joan moved in, because last year in May, in 2021, Mother's Day, my husband was putting together a shed for me that we were going to turn into our chicken coop, and he sliced through his Achilles tendon with a piece of sheet metal. I am an RN. I was at work when he did that. I was on call that Mother's Day weekend, and I had been at work since like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and he did it in the afternoon. And thankfully, one of my friends came in to cover for me so I could meet him at the emergency room. But he really has never been laid up before. That was his first real injury. He ended up having to have surgery about a week and a half later to reattach his Achilles. So then he was non-weight bearing and on crutches for weeks, and then in a boot. And this is a lot of property, and my dad just stepped right up and was watering and mowing and trying to keep it green, and he's done such an amazing job. I don't know what we would have done without them. Like I said, I'm an RN. I was also in EMT. My husband and I both were in emergency services. My husband was a firefighter, EMT, for 20 years. And I got out of nursing school, which I started later in life, and went straight into the ER because it's what I knew. It was my home. A couple of years ago, probably about 3 now, I made the switch into a perioperative position where I worked in a day surgery unit, the PACU, and minimally the OR. And I, about a year ago, this Labor Day, got COVID. at work, and I got very, very sick. I, on day 8, ended up being hospitalized and was hospitalized for several weeks. I came home and was on oxygen for months, did pulmonary rehab. I have about 50% lung function now, which is not real conducive to, you know, running in a very busy surgical ward for 12 hours a shift. So about 6 months ago, I made the switch to hospice. I am the director of a local hospice organization, and I didn't realize how much I was going to truly love being a hospice nurse. I don't think you know until you do it. And my job is administrative, but man, I am working with the best group of people doing the best jobs possible, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's been a steep learning curve. I have a lot to learn, but I'm really enjoying it. That said, I am now working 5 days a week instead of working 3 12s, which I had been so used to doing because it's all I'd really done in my career. My gardens, I have 3 of them. We used to have 4, but we put an above ground pool in what used to be a squash bed. But my gardens used to be so beautiful. They were magical looking. The arches were always covered with viney treasures and loofah gourds and cucumbers and all the things, pole beans that grow up and make it so whimsical and so magical. Always had flowers in them. This year, that is not the case. This year they are functional. They are not pretty, but we are cranking out a lot of produce out of those functional spaces. We have, like I said, about 9 acres, almost 10, and my stepdad bought the 14 acres next to us. So while we do have some neighbors, we won't have any for the next 2 lots next to us, and that's a great thing. We have 2 huge livestock guardian dogs, Mishka and Moxie. We have 2 barn cats, Mazakeen and Mayhem. And we have about 15 laying hens right now. And we're getting ready in about a week and a half to have 100 meat chickens delivered. We didn't do meat chickens last year, we did them the year before, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. We also will be raising up about 75 meat chickens that are not for our family, they're for friends. But since we're doing them, we're gonna just grow them up for them, and then they'll come and help on processing day. My goal with doing this YouTube channel is to document what we do and why we do it, how we do it, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm definitely not a professional at anything that I do, but I try, and we function and we get through it. I got up this morning and water bath canned 9 1.5 jars of spaghetti sauce that we had cooking down over the last day or so, which was the first big 22-quart roaster oven full of tomatoes we pulled out of the garden this year. Hoping to do that 2 or 3 more times. We're going to be canning salsa this weekend, preserving sweet corn. We have the best sweet corn, Karlstrom sweet corn. If you haven't had it, don't, because it becomes an addiction and all other corn pales in comparison. We're going to be canning some, we're going to be freezing some, and we have a Harvest Right freeze dryer, which currently has Rainier cherries in it, but we're going to be freeze drying a bunch of corn as well. We are planning on taking you guys along for this journey. My husband, Mel, works for the county. He works 4/10s most of the year. We love to camp. We love to travel. We've got a big, noisy, fun set of family and friends that we spend all of our time with. Mel and I have 3 kids, Mason, Mallory, and Madison. Mallory lives close here with her 2 kids, my grandbabies, Brookie and Logan. They are 7 and 5. And my baby daughter is a police officer in Beverly Hills, lives in California. Hoping that she'll be moving closer very, very soon. but we are just going to be trying to figure this out. I have no idea how to edit videos. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. I hope that you guys will bear with me during the really rough times that I know are ahead of me as I'm learning to do this. I'll take you guys through my gardens, through all of our adventures, the successes and the failures. I am one to sometimes just jump in without really knowing what I'm doing. I've had some wonderful, surprising, positive experiences and successes, and I've had some epic failures. But you know, it's all a learning process, and that is what we're hoping to do. We want to relieve the burden of having to rely so much on standard food processes. We don't want to have to depend on the grocery store for everything. We have wonderful sources locally for beef and for pork. We're raising our own meat chickens. We're going to put those up ourselves. We have 2 pear trees, 2 apple trees, an old peach tree that's about half dead. I'm really hoping to expand that in the next year or so. We grow tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and pumpkins and zucchini and yellow squash and spaghetti squash and herbs and strawberries. Oh, the ground cherries are my grandbaby's absolute favorite. They are just, Mimi, when are they going to be ready? Do you have any? Carrots, lettuces, beets, radishes, you name it. We try it all. Some things have been horrible this year. Usually my zucchini plants are cranking out so much zucchini that people run from me because they're afraid I'm going to force zucchini on them. This year the squash beetles have just had their way with my squash gardens. So we've got some younger, healthier plants that are coming up and hoping to get a good harvest off of those. But you win some, you lose some. Our onions this year were fantastic. Our potatoes have been good. We're gonna pull more potatoes out of the ground this weekend. And we'll take you guys along for all of that. We laugh a lot. We disagree on how we do things a lot. We make it up as we go. But we have a good time doing it, and we have been pretty successful. I'm pretty proud of what I have learned to do later in life. I'm 50 years old. I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't have the benefit of a mom who did a lot of preserving. She was a great cook. She was a fantastic baker. That is something that I hope to get better at. But we're learning as we go, and I am really excited about the prospect of bringing you guys along for the ride. The name of our YouTube channel is that Casa-LOTZ Life. Kind of hard to say, Casa-LOTZ Life. And the name of our little property out here is Basque. My husband is Basque. His family is Basque. And in Basque, it means crazy farmhouse. Well, it means mad farmhouse. So it was as close as I could get. So that's pretty much what it is. And we look forward to spending time with you. I'm really excited to finally be pulling the trigger. It's been a rough year. I don't feel good some days. I have long haulers syndrome from my COVID, and it's really taken a toll on me. And I'm just now getting back to feeling good most days. I've got some cardiac issues. I have a lot of pulmonary issues, and learning a new position. So it's been a busy year. So come along with us and enjoy some time with us. We're so glad that you're here. Thanks. Bye.